What's going on, everybody? Welcome to the Progressive Moose News. If you're tuning in on YouTube, this is a recording. Uh, I've got about 12 minutes to showtime. So if you're on YouTube and you're tuning in, guys, skip ahead 12 minutes if you just want to get to the show and skip the banter at the beginning. I'll see you there. All right, that being said, let's get things going, guys. I have to get things set up here. Hello and welcome. I'm just getting things started in gear here. Bear with me, guys. Trying to figure out why something's not working properly here. Just 1 second. That might be why right there. All right. There we go. Now I'm good to go. All right. Hello, everyone. I am the Progressive Moves coming at you here tonight. Happy Sunday. I hope everyone's doing well. Come join me for the Progressive Moves News, guys. Bear with me as I send out all the invites, get things all set up and going. Hello, everyone. If you're tuning in, bear with me, just sending out all my invites. Please know I appreciate all of you. Bear with me. Almost through the list, I think. There is quite the list going on. All right, everyone. It is Sunday. We've made it through another week. So much has gone on, so much to talk about. I'm going to take a little bit of a break from doing kind of the normal. We will still be talking about politics. We'll still be breaking things down. Don't think we're not going to, because it's me. That's what we do. We break down the nitty gritty here on Beaver Politics. So stick with me as things get going here. Hello, everyone, and welcome. Don't forget to share the live. Let people know we're gathering as well. Tapping is clapping, as always, guys. I really appreciate all the support and love. Thank you so much to return viewers. I believe I see a pasty native up there. Welcome. Happy Sunday. Really enjoyed the show the other day. Great job to both you and Sean. Very good. You guys do a fantastic job over there. Katie, good to see you. Hello and welcome. Hope everyone's doing good. Don't forget, guys, share the stream. Let people know we're gathering. Thank you so much for that. I appreciate that. Alrighty, guys, how you doing out there? It is Sunday. We made it through another week. Hope you're all doing good. Uh, Pasty Native, I did see your message in Discord. My thoughts are with you. I don't know what's going on, but definitely hang in there, and fingers crossed. Hopefully, it's nothing too major for you. I do have a bit to go through today, guys. A little different than normal, but a lot, a lot the same as well. I will be breaking down where the polls are sitting right now, breakdown as to where they were, where they are, what we would expect if the election were to be held, say today or tomorrow. Of course, that's not going to be the end result or the end numbers come the actual election day. So keep that in mind. That will change over time, especially given the different things in, I guess, scheduling for the election would be the proper way to say it moving forward. There's definitely enough going on from now until election day that the voting or the poll trackers will change. And as always, take polls with a grain of salt. Yes, they can be right, but more times than not, they're not an exact science, and we have seen where they don't quite paint the picture accurately. So keep that in mind. as we move forward in this election, guys. Don't forget to keep tapping that button. Tapping is clapping, guys. Share the stream. Let people know that we're gathering. Ooh, yeah, that's definitely a weirder one, Pasty. I'm sorry to hear that. Hello, everyone, and welcome. I see that you're joining. Got 8 minutes till showtime, guys. So just hanging in, waiting for people to show up. Join us for the conversations. As always, you guys know me. I'm always down to have other people on the panel when I'm talking about things. So if you have a different perspective or something you want to add, by all means, send a request to come up to be part of the panel. Love to hear from you as we go through the show. As always, of course. Thank you very much, Perry, for the shares. Really appreciate it. Getting those numbers up. Thank you so much. Yeah, and for anyone that is here, I do apologize that unfortunately last week I did not do my normal Sunday show like we're doing tonight. Wasn't in the right headspace, so I apologize, but here I am now, ready to go. Um, and I want to say a bit more balanced. I won't lie, I definitely got a little spicy there for a little bit. Um, and I think just kind of stepping back like I did for the reasons that I did. A good byproduct of it is I'm able to kind of just center myself a bit more. Um, there's always a time and place to be spicy, don't get me wrong. However, you have to have your balance, right? So, and that'll be something we'll probably be talking about tonight as well. Finding your balance and having the respectful discourse the best you can with people you might not agree with, especially right now in today's political climate. Some people have pushed back on me for it, and I can understand why. But given where parties are sitting, especially when it comes to the conservative and liberal parties, they're definitely sitting closer in terms of policy and how they want to go about doing things. So, you know, all Canadians, I think, want the same end result. They want to deal with the housing crisis. They want to get people to be able to, enjoy their lives and not have to worry about finances, not have to worry about where their next meal is coming from. We all want to make sure that everybody ends up with a roof over their head, regardless of what side of the aisle you sit on. That's what we all want to see. It's just a matter of we don't agree on how to get there. Um, and again, as of right now, like in a lot of ways, the liberal proposals for policies and how to go about things absolutely are coming closer, and you see where the Conservative Party and Liberal Party, two sides of the same coin in some cases, right? Yes, there's differences within the policies; they're doing it different ways, but at the end result, they're trying to cut taxes for the middle class. They're trying to do this, trying to do that, and they're all lining up, right? So keep that in mind. Do I agree with all the policies? Absolutely not. Um, and if you know me, I will call out uh, a lot of times where it's the conservative policies that, yes, they might do somewhat what they say, but we also know that through what we've seen in the past on the federal level, as well as, I mean, currently and in the past on provincial levels, where conservatives do end up having more of a wealth transfer more towards the more wealthy in the first place, right? So again, keep that in mind moving forward as we do the show tonight, because I will be diving into some things. I'm sure I might get a little pushback from some people, which is fine because this is what we're here for: is for the conversations and to be able to navigate things better politically and on a case to case, base to base level. And that's how you have to look at politics, right? They're like Doug Ford, for an example, and I am going to talk about him a little bit tonight, not very much, but his stance on standing with the auto workers right now really is like, yeah, you know what? He's looking to try and protect and stand by the auto workers right now. given everything that's going on. And I'll be breaking that down too, because there's absolutely the tariff aspect of that. But there is another aspect that I had covered before on the show, um, closer to the beginning of the year, actually, maybe in the end of 2024, end of December, I covered what was going on in the auto sector already. So, couple different things coupled in there, and you're hearing different messaging coming out as to why different auto plants are closing. So, we'll kind of navigate that a bit. And give you a bit more of a breakdown on that. So there's compounding factors in some industries right now. The big one of the key factors and most common across all the sectors, of course, being the tariffs and what's going on. But yeah, so stay tuned for that conversation, guys. Um, if you're still here, thank you so much. Really appreciate it. We got 1 minute till showtime. So again, thank you so much, guys. Keep tapping that like button. Send out invites. Let people know we're here. We're going to be diving into things, getting down to the nitty gritty the best we can. Hello, VA. Good to see you and happy Sunday evening. I hope you're doing well. It was a beautiful day here, guys, in Northern Ontario. It was a beautiful weekend. I definitely enjoyed it. The sun was out, the temperature was up, and the snow is melting. Hopefully, that was the last false spring, or yeah, false spring we saw was before the storm, and now hopefully this is true spring. Alrighty, guys. Awesome. So it's 7:59, probably a couple of seconds from 8 o'clock. So I'm just there it goes, and it changed to 8 o'clock. So guys, it is 8 o'clock. I am the Progressive Moose. Thank you for joining me here tonight. Um, Taking time out of your day. It is 8 o'clock Eastern time. So I realize there's people in the middle of the day right now on the West Coast. So thank you if you're on the West Coast. Thank you for tuning in. I really appreciate it taking time out of the middle of your day to come join me here on Progressive Moose News. As always, guys, bit of housekeeping before we get going. I always have the live goals going on up here. So if you feel compelled, really appreciate it. When you do, it's not needed. But again, thank you to anyone that does. As well, guys, if you haven't hit that little gold orange heart up there, give it a tap. Become a part of the team. All right. I bring you information, I bring you the discourse, and try to have conversations with you. But at the end, it's about all of us. We're doing this together to amplify our voices as the people to fight for the people. So keep that in mind, guys. It's all about not just me, but about you guys too, and all Canadians, and humanity in general across the globe. So thank you so much. Let's get going with the stuff that I got for you. So I had a conversation with somebody here on TikTok not long ago, and I wanted to bring this up again. And I know I've shown it before, but I do want to make sure I show this again because conservative voters or people that have the conservative talking points during this election, yes, I do understand. You can go online and you can go on different platforms and you can find the conservative values and what would be considered their platform for the election. However, one thing I want to point out about the Conservative Party itself is when you go to a party's platform page, you need to have a platform, right? That's the biggest thing about having a platform page, having a plan page, is to put your policies and what you would do on that page. And the reason why I say it like that, and I want to bring this up, guys, is I am going to turn my camera and I'm going to show you the Canada First plan. It is conservative.ca/plan is the website. Okay, so see if I can get this kind of situated better to show you guys. Here we go. Okay, so we are currently on the Conservative Plan website. And starting off, Pierre Poilievre has launched his Canada First plan. Let Pierre know your thoughts now. If you've been on my live, you've probably seen this before and probably remember when I did it before, but I'm going to break it down again, guys, because clearly I didn't do good enough at breaking it down before. Um, and I'm still having discourse with people that believe that, you know, this sort of stuff is okay. So stick with me until we get to the end because it is a bit of a process. But I'm going to do this as if they're asking me. Okay. So for each of the questions, please indicate how much you agree or disagree. All right. Sounds pretty straightforward. Canada will never be the 51st state. We must bear any burden and pay any price to protect our sovereignty and independence. Doesn't matter what side of the aisle you're on, guys, you should absolutely agree with that. We will not become the 51st state. So, responding to American tariff threats by imposing tariffs dollar for dollar to safeguard Canadian jobs in industries. Um, I don't know if I agree with dollar for dollar, but we definitely need to punch back or fight back, so to speak. So I'm going to say somewhat agree to that. Okay. The carbon tax must be axed for everyone, for real and forever. Okay, so let's break this one down while we're sitting on it. Thank you so much, Pasty Native, for all the gifts. You are amazing. Thank you so much. So let's break this one down, guys, because right now, the consumer aspect of the carbon tax is put down to zero, which means that there is no consumer aspect of the carbon tax at this point that we are paying. Yes, the carbon tax is still a thing, but it's only on the biggest polluters. It's on the companies and corporations, right? Because even farmers are exempt at this point, and small businesses are exempt at this point. The only ones still paying the carbon tax are the wealthiest companies and corporations that pollute the most. Okay, so at this point, I'm going to say, you know what? I definitely strongly disagree. Um, and to break that one down a little bit more as well, guys, you need to keep in mind the reason why we need to keep one of the reasons why we need to keep some sort of carbon pricing in Canada is because a lot of our trade with EU countries, they require that we have some sort of carbon pricing because if we do not, then they will tariff us, essentially putting a price on carbon for us. So better to do it ourselves and figure out what works for us. So strongly disagree with that one, guys. All right, so Canada's natural riches should be harnessed to unleash a fierce and free enterprise economy that brings home jobs and control of our economic destiny. When it comes to our resources, I believe our resources are a strong role to play in how we go about trade and how we deal with the US and the tariffs and all that stuff, and really our place in the world when it comes to trade. So I will strongly agree that we have a strong we have a strong mandate to be smart in how we do trade when it comes to our resources, and how we use our resources within our own borders, how we get those resources, making sure we're not hurting the environment or as little as possible while we're doing so. That sort of stuff, guys. Um, Lump jobs in there and control of our economic destiny. Uh, you know what, guys? I'm gonna say neutral on that because that's a little bit of a mixed bag of a question. So that's where we're gonna go there. Taking back control of our borders by deploying military helicopters, surveillance, 2,000 new border agents, and state-of-the-art scanning and drone systems. Okay, so in this question itself is like a tiny Trump question. Okay, because I've I've covered it before and I've talked about it before. So if you've heard me, you're going to hear me say it again. That's what Trump's doing on their side of the border. He's deployed Black Hawk helicopters to patrol their side. He's amped up security on their side. Okay, so this is a Trumpian question. This is Trump light. This is Pierre Poilievre's Trump light. Tiny Trump. Okay, that's the framing of this. Do I believe that security is important on our borders? Absolutely. But do I think we need to start losing our minds and going overkill to get rid of threats that aren't there. Yes, we have massive amount of substance pouring into Canada from the United States, not the other way around, as well as firearms coming into Canada from the United States. So security is a good one, but I definitely don't agree with how this one is framed. Ending the policies that have doubled our debt, raised our taxes, and driven $500 billion of Canadian investments to other countries. Um, I'm going to go neutral on that because it doesn't say what the policies are they're talking about, right? Um, do I think there's policies that are doing that thing, doing exactly what it's saying? No, I don't. This is fear mongering. This is the sort of living in a different reality that I tend to not participate in. But building a strong modern military, adding 2,000 Canadian Rangers, 4 heavy icebreakers, and a permanent Arctic base to protect our true north. Guys, our northern flank needs to be protected. We already know this because of threats from Russia when it comes to the northern corridor that's opening up and will be a powerhouse for a trade route moving forward once it's, the ice is melted and we can push through it quite a bit. It'll be a powerhouse for trade, and Russia is definitely interested. So, do I believe we need to protect our northern flank? Absolutely. Um, and that's nuance, guys. That's willing to agree with something that we agree with, and realizing we're probably on the same page. Not going to do it the same way that we probably would, but we're on the same page. So I'm going to say someone agrees to that one. Okay. We must end cancel culture and restore our national museums, sorry, monuments and heroes to celebrate the unvarnished truth of Canadian history. All right, guys, I'm going to strongly disagree with this one, and the reason why is how this is framed. Okay, it says national museums, monuments, and heroes. Any monuments that have been either toppled over by people or removed, a very good reason for that. Okay, literal cancel culture is what those people were heroes did. Is they canceled other people's culture, indigenous culture. Okay? Let's not forget about that. That was literal canceling of a culture. So when he says to get rid of cancel culture, I don't know what the hell he's talking about. Okay? Through our history, the people that he wants to protect, the monuments depicting people that he wants to protect, we're literally canceling people's culture. So I'm strongly disagreeing with this one, guys. Sorry, I'm going to break it down. I'm going to let you guys know. On a scale of 1 to 5, how would you rate the performance of Conservative Party leader Pierre Poilievre? There's no 0, guys, so I'm going to go with 1. Uh, and do you have any comments you'd like to share with Pierre? Guys, what's a good comment you want to share with Pierre? How about get your clearance? Good enough for me. Mr. Pierre Poilievre, please go get your clearance. All right, we made it through, and here we are. We are on the platform page, guys. I'm so excited to break down. What do we got here? Thank you for your survey has been received. Donate today to help Pierre Poilievre and our conservative team put you back in control of your life and make Canada the freest country on earth. Donate. Okay. Well, you know what? If we keep scrolling, maybe we'll get to somewhere we can just see their platform and the stuff they want to do. See here by submitting a donation. I certify that. No, no, that has nothing to do with their platform. No, as of January 1st, 2025, the maximum allowable. No, no, that has nothing to do with their platform. Yeah. Um. So there's no. Yeah. So there's no platform there. So, something popped up here. Maybe this is a way to get into the platform. Canada first. Pierre Poilievre and common sense conservatives will put Canada first. They need your help. Okay, well, I mean, us Canadians need the government's help. So that's why we're here trying to find what your platform is, how you're going to help us Canadians. Anywho, so this is, nope, maybe next. No, there's no actual platform here, guys. There's no policies. There's nothing of substance to tell us, the voters, why we should vote for the Conservative Party. Okay? This is a very big one that I've been wanting to point out for a while. Yes, you can find their priorities, their promises, their platforms in other places. And this is what I keep getting told by conservative voters that want to argue with me is, well, you can go find it other places, so it doesn't matter. No, well, it does matter. If the party itself is asking you for donations and not giving you their platform, it's very telling, right? You can go to the other party pages and you can go find their platforms and policies and their values. Right here, their values is they want your money. That's what the conservatives are telling us. It sounds familiar too, almost like it's in line with the, what was it, Republican Party down in the states. I'm being smart. It definitely was the Republican Party down in the states, where it's, we just want your donations and that's all it is. He has been in front of people. Okay, so Doug Mack, you're right. He has been in front of people. He has done press conferences. He's done rallies, all that sort of stuff. Um, he's been in front of hundreds of thousands of people saying what he's going to do. There's no crowd size that was 100,000 people, and the fact that they tried to say there was, thousands upon thousands at some of the rallies, it's not the case. Okay, you can go find videos where they break down. If people want to say there was like 10, 15,000 people at a rally, that fills the stadium. That's what a NHL hockey game capacity is, right? He's not filling stadiums. The venues that he's going to and having his rallies aren't that big. You cannot put 10 to 15,000 people in a rally in those venues. You're looking at 1,500. And actually, there were places that went in and did count of the heads in the crowd. And at most, they said, for margin of error, at most, just over 1,500 people. So, Doug, exactly, and that's my point. Okay, you can't compare those numbers. That's my whole point. Um, Anywho, yeah. So you're right. He's going around and he's speaking in front of the cameras and he's speaking in front of people. Absolutely. But again, if you're gonna make a platform page, don't make it for people to donate. Put your platform on there. That's my whole point, right? They're the only party that has been like, hey, just donate to us and we're not going to give you the platform. So keep that in mind moving forward, guys. Yes, you can find their promises other places, but it's really telling when a party right on their own page does not give you their actual platform. That's my whole point on showing you guys this. So thank you for sticking with me through that. I really appreciate it. And now, guys, I will go into the poll tracker a little bit here. I know with my computer showing you the way it is, the computer isn't really the greatest image, um, but it is what it is. So, right now, if there were to be a federal election, say today or tomorrow, this is the breakdown. And yes, guys, take polls with a grain of salt. This is on the poll tracker on CBC. Being transparent with you, that's the source that I'm using right now. There are other places you can find conglomerations of all the different polls and their numbers, and it averages it out for you. So don't take this as this is what it's going to be. Um, Polls do have their margins of error, and they're not always correct. So as of right now, though, the Liberals are 44.1%. Conservatives are at 38. So a little bit of moving closer to each other there. Liberals gone down 0.1, conservatives up 0.5. New Democrats 8.1. So they're down zero point 0.2 from the last time it was updated. And guys, the NDP have really lost momentum, and I really feel bad. I think they're a strong party. I think, unfortunately, their messaging hasn't been completely on point, and they're not able to make their platform stuff stick. Um, yeah, it's unfortunate. Uh, the block is sitting at 5.2%, uh, roughly about the same last time it was updated. Green Party, 2.2%, so they're down zero point 0.1. People's Party, 1.6%. They're holding steady, and other zero point 0.8. Uh, who did this poll? This is on the CBC poll tracker. I thought I mentioned that. I apologize if I didn't, guys. This is on the CBC poll tracker. It was last updated this morning at 8:56 a.m. Again, like I said, this is one poll tracker, right? This is one set of polls. You can go to other places. There are places you can go where they bring all the poll numbers together and give you an average. Doug, you can say it's wrong all you want. Just because you don't agree with something doesn't mean that it's going to be fully wrong. Go find other polls, go see what they say. By all means, have at it. If you don't like what I'm bringing you, then please, by all means, you know where the door is. Okay? What are the chances of each party winning? Right now, 87% probability of the Liberals winning a majority, 11% probability of Liberals winning the most seats, but not a majority, and probability of the Conservatives winning the most seats is currently sitting at 1% from what they've got to break down. Let's see here, how support breaks down across the country. Liberals are very comfortably leading in Quebec and Atlantic Canada, enjoy a wide lead over the Conservatives in Ontario. They are also narrowly ahead in British Columbia. The Conservatives lead in Alberta and the Prairies. NDP's strongest support is in BC and the Prairies. But even there, the party is poised to suffer significant losses. The Bloc and Conservatives are fighting for second place in Quebec. So here you go, guys. Hopefully you can see that all right. We've got British Columbia up in the corner, right here to start with. Okay, so Liberals have a bit of a lead in British Columbia, overall federally. Alberta over here. The Conservatives have the lead. You go down to Saskatchewan and Manitoba. Conservatives have a lead there. By the looks of it, Ontario, right beside there, you can see the Liberals have a very strong lead in Ontario on the federal level. Quebec, guys, right here on this side, you can see the Liberals have really made up some momentum in Quebec and taken away a lot of support from the Bloc. So kudos to them. Um, Liberals will win regardless. I mean, we'll have to see what happens. Like I said, this is a breakdown of what this poll indicates and all the numbers they have, all the data they have. I'm just giving it to you. I'm not trying to be biased. I'm not trying to, you know, have one way or the other. I'm just trying to show you the data. And CBC Poll Tracker is a conglomeration of a bunch of different poll information, different polls that they bring together and break it down for people, right? So keep that in mind as well. Thank you so much for all the gifts. I really appreciate it. Um, yeah, you guys are fantastic. Really love it. Thank you so much. I cannot believe you're still going with that. Thank you so much for all the gifts, guys. You really get me like, yeah, I don't know what to say other than thank you. Thank you, thank you, thank you. Um, so polling average as of April 13th. Now this one goes back and it shows you over time where everyone had sat, right? So when you go and you look back in time, I know it's hard for you guys to see. I apologize. But right here, so let's go back. Let's go back to the beginning. So October 2021 is when this shows the information starting. Okay. So if you go back to October 2021, down over here, The Liberals were sitting at 32.6%, and Conservatives at 33.7%, NDP 17.8%, and so on. And then once you get into, let's do January 2023, January 16th, 2023, Liberals at 31%, Conservatives 33%, NDP 19%. Um, and as you keep going, there is a bit of a slump going in to the middle of 2023 for the Conservatives. Not much of one, but there is a bit of a dip. And NDP and Liberal picked up a bit of support from that. And then you see where Conservatives really start to take momentum going further on, guys. If you can see that, like the gap's getting bigger, it keeps going. NDP normally holding a bit steady, but as we come into January 2025, guys, that's when the numbers really shake up. That's when Justin Trudeau, in around there is when Justin Trudeau resigned from the leadership of the Liberal Party, as well as moving forward from that, Mark Carney took the leadership. And you really see these numbers really diverge here as we get into where we are now, where I mean NDP guys way down here, conservatives losing ground, of course, as most polls are showing. I apologize for that, and liberals definitely making up ground overall, 43.9% there right off the beginning here. Um, so very telling. You have the block at the bottom, the Green, PPC, and others, of course, right down there, way at the bottom. Um, and they've all gone down. So Liberals have really taken a lot of support from across different parties, Conservatives, NDP, the Bloc in Quebec. They've really managed to take quite a bit of the numbers away from other parties as it sits. Yes, there's a breakdown as of right now where we sit in the polls going forward. And speaking of forward, hello, I am back. I'm not behind the camera anymore. All right, so that's where the polls are sitting, guys. I'm interested if you have uh, part of that you want to talk about. If you agree, disagree, please, by all means, come on up. Love to have a conversation about it. But we are going to move forward still, too, so keep that in mind. But still send a request because I'd love to have the conversation. And as of right now, guys, I just got to move my camera back out of the way, get set up properly here again. We're halfway through, guys. Thank you so much. Keep tapping that like button, guys. Tapping is clapping, sharing is caring. And thank you again so much for all the gifts as I was doing all those breakdowns. I really appreciate it. You guys have been absolutely fantastic, and I can't do this without you. So thank you so much. Um, Yeah, so going into this week, what's the biggest thing that I think we need to know when it comes to the election is debate nights. So the Leadership Debate Commission has said that there will be debates held on April 16th at 8 p.m. Eastern Time, will be the French debate, and that will be followed by the English language debate on April 17th at 7 p.m. So tune into those if you can, guys. And of course, they will be available afterwards. The vast majority of places that cover the debates will have recordings of it, whether on YouTube or on their own platforms online. So definitely tune into those. I myself will not be tuning into the English one on the 17th because that's when our local riding is having its debate. So I will be tuning into my local riding debate um, in person. So I'm loving it. I'm gonna love it. I'll be honest, right now, I'm leaning towards NDP for my vote, guys, just because my riding that I currently live in has been NDP while I've lived here. They've done a fantastic job. No reason to change that. NDP, I think, is the strongest in my riding, so fits So that's what I'll be voting. But yeah, so tune in to the debates, guys, coming up this week. Definitely important. Like I said, I'll be watching the English one afterwards, as I'll be in person watching my local riding debate that night. So, yeah. Also, I wanted to bring forward, there have been rumblings of the new party that's kind of getting a little bit of attention, only because it's new and it's something really at this point, something a little different than what we've been used to in the last, oh, what, 7 years now, give or take. Um, Poll tracker panic. Um, yeah, so the new party is the Canadian Future Party. Canadians deserve leaders. This is right on their page, guys. The Canadian Future Party.ca. You can go check it out online. This is straight from their page. I just thought I'd kind of turn the camera around so you could see who's talking to you. But I am going to read some of the stuff here, guys, off their webpage. Canadian Future Party. Canadians deserve leaders willing to stand up for our national defense, and we need ones who are willing to confront issues like our housing crisis, rising cost of living, and climate challenges. As the Canadian Future Party, we're looking to bring everyone better and more powerful, evidence based solutions, ones that result in a stronger, united, and more prosperous future for all Canadians. Our leader, as the leader of the Canadian Future Party, Dominic Carty, champions evidence based solutions over political polarization. With extensive experience in international affairs and politics, he rises above populist politics to steer Canada away from extremism. His mandate to focus on action and democracy, not empty rhetoric. Our policy. The Canadian Future Party is here to defend Canadians against our nation's greatest challenges. We offer fresh, no nonsense, and evidence based solutions developed by and for Canadians like you. From fixing the housing crisis to advancing climate resilience and our national defense, our hand on policies are designed to make democracy work for Canada right now. Explore our ideas for driving Canada forward together. We're laying the foundation for a stronger, brighter future. Yeah, so there you go. Um, I don't know if you guys have heard much about this new party. If you have, please, by all means, just let me know. Because I'd love to hear some more on it. But I wanted to first and foremost let you know that there is another party now on the federal level throwing their hat in. So good luck to them. I have seen a little bit, and I have to do more research. So I do apologize. I don't have full on deets for you on the new party there, but on the future Canadian Future Party. Um, but I did see some press conference coverage, um, and I mean they talk a good game, so keep that in mind. Again, I'd have to do more looking into it before I can give you a definitive kind of what my opinion is. But their platform sounds promising. That being said, though, guys, right now, there's also the Canadian Rebellion Party. Yes, that is another one as well. Thank you for pointing that out, Pasty. I did forget about that one today. Um, as I was here in the office looking through things. So thank you for that. Guys, there's been a lot of different parties start to pop up, which I think is good because it gives us more diversity, and hopefully some of the newer parties will see different rhetoric. We'll see a divergence from what we've been seeing in politics where it is the name calling, finger pointing, and nothing's actually getting done. So even if these parties don't do very well moving forward, at least it shows that there's pushback. There's people that actually want to change the status quo, and they're willing to form new parties to try and gain momentum to do so. And that's the biggest thing is we need parties that are for the people, of the people, and by the people. That's what the NDP party was based on, right? Um, and the most current leader of the NDP party that I will always point out is Jack Layton. Jack Layton really did a lot for the NDP party. Um, and under his leadership, I remember having a conversation with, I was in the Brantford riding in Southern Ontario at the time, and speaking to the candidate down there, he was just like I was, working a 9 to 5, you know, factory or warehouse job, just scraping by, supporting his family. And that's what the NDP base is. It's for the working people. It's made up of the working people. And I think they've lost direction. And that's why you're seeing such a kind of flop in the polls in support for the NDP right now. And it's really time for them to kind of pick up that mantle again because we need it more than ever. Uh, yeah. So hopefully these new parties will maybe put a little bit of a strain on the more prominent ones, make them kind of look at themselves and say, hey, we really need to start doing more and moving the bar forward in a lot of ways instead of, towing the status quo like we have been. Yes, there's that, guys. Thank you so much for sticking around with me through that one as well. Um, Other than that, guys, I want to have a nuanced conversation as well. So if anyone would like to come up and join me in a nuanced conversation, be fantastic. I want to talk about having discourse with people that we would not normally agree with. Because if you've been around, if you've caught my show, if you've caught me on Beaver Politics or anywhere else, you'll know it doesn't matter who we're talking about in politics or what politicians. I will always call out what needs to be called out. Okay? I don't care about decorum and I don't care about party lines. If I don't agree with a politician, I will tell you I don't agree with a politician. I will poke holes in their policy. I will poke holes in their logic. I've done it with the liberals. I do it with NDP. I do it with conservatives. I don't. I don't choose sides in that way, right? So, and I say that because right now I'm in Ontario, so I want to use this as an example where Doug Ford is coming out to say that he supports the auto sector workers and what they're facing right now. And it's very important. I will absolutely say I agree with Doug Ford on that matter alone. Given what those workers are facing, they're already being laid off. Their futures are already uncertain because they're being laid off. You have different levels of government, like the federal government, saying they are doing things and putting things in place or trying to put things in place to make sure they can support those workers um, moving forward and things aren't going to be so horrible for them. Um, yes, absolutely, Marcel. And that's where the nuance comes in because just because I agree with standing beside or behind the auto workers and all the other workers in other sectors that are currently having hard times because of the tariffs and all the other stuff, I am absolutely okay. I might agree with Doug Ford on that one thing, but he has been destroying the province in terms of funding the funding infrastructures for so many different aspects, right? Healthcare, education, actual infrastructure, the housing crisis. He has failed all of it. He has failed housing the homeless. He has failed. He has failed at feeding the people that are hungry. He has failed at taking care of the people of Ontario, okay, for the vast majority of the stuff that he's done. But we need to use nuance, right? And this is what politics is about, is you need to find where you agree with each other across the party lines and work out from there. So conservatives, liberals, NDP, Green, Bloc, doesn't matter what party at this point. we can all agree that we need to stand beside the workers. Okay, we need to bolster the workers that are being affected by the tariffs, by what's going on in the economy. We can all agree on that. It's how we get there we disagree on. So that's a good opener when it comes to when you're trying to talk to somebody that you might not normally agree with, right? And that's using nuance. That's holding truth to power, right? Because I can sit here and I can tell you things that I didn't like about Justin Trudeau under the Liberals, things where I thought, he fumbled the ball or the Liberals have fumbled the ball in the past. I can tell you where I think the NDP have fumbled the ball in the past and currently. I can tell you where the Conservatives have fumbled the ball in the past and where I can give them credit, right? This is the biggest thing is politics isn't meant to be camp based because as soon as politics becomes camp based, especially when we're talking about in parliament, nothing's going to get done because the whole idea of democracy is talking and finding the common ground, right? And we don't see that right now. So the Canadian Future Party points that out in their rhetoric, in their messaging, saying like, "Hey, enough is enough of the childish finger pointing. Enough is enough of the childish name calling. Let's get down to the policy. Let's get down to the nitty gritty. Let's focus on our jobs. And to hell with the clickbait videos. To hell with just need to own the other side, and that's all it's about. No, it's about actually making a change for Canadians. Politicians, I hope you're watching or listening or see this at some point. Stop bickering, stop pointing the finger, and take fucking accountability for what you've done, or sorry, what you haven't done. And that goes to all politicians at all levels of government at this point, okay? I'm not going to sit here and tell you that, any party has been perfect. They've all had their issues. They've all had stuff that they didn't meet the status quo or they didn't move the bar forward with. Um, yeah. So happy. I see you lurking. Yeah. So that's what I've got on that, guys. If you would love to add to the conversation, please by all means send a request. I think somebody did a little earlier. I apologize. Oh, there we go. Wow.
Hello, Liz.
Hey, Smarsh, how you doing?
Good. I just want to say our government needs to be working for us, not the other way around.
Absolutely.
If they want the vote, they need to earn the vote. And in
Absolutely.
my opinion, Polyev has never earned the vote. In my opinion. In my
No,
opinion
well,
alone.
and no, and that's where, like, in my opinion, I will absolutely agree because given the over 2 decades that he's been an MP, he's got very little under his belt. He can say that he's actually either done or brought forward and contributed to policy to help Canadians. So,
Right.
absolutely agree with you on
That's why my profile picture says Polyev, 20 years of nothing.
that. Love it. Pasty Native, do you want to chime in? And then Marcel, we hear from you.
Okay. I think the biggest thing is people that are voting for
You're really
conservatives
quiet.
need to. I'm sitting in a hospital, so I'm trying not to be too loud.
Oh, that's right. Yeah.
Sorry.
But the biggest thing is
Sorry about
people
that.
need to know what the Conservative Party actually stands for and check out the voting history of the Conservative Party.
Yep. Yeah, absolutely. For anyone that didn't hear that, the PC native was saying it was very quiet. They're sitting in a hospital right now, so that's why they're so quiet. Um, but they were saying how if you want to know how a party looks at how they've helped Canadians in the past or how they view helping Canadians, go and look at their voting history when it comes to policy and things brought forward in uh, legislation and how they voted on it, and that's very telling. And going back to that, I mean, that's prime example for Polyev, where you can go and look, and there's not much he's voted for or done to help Canadians in that sense. Absolutely,
Yeah.
Marcel.
I will try and keep my spice level down. and I
We
will
love
try
you.
and I will try and be respectful. But Anthony Taylor, again, I said the reason why people did not vote in Ontario's election is because, for number one, most people in Ontario, for some reason, confused it between a provincial and a federal election. For number two, the other issue is people just said, well, I don't like any of the candidates, so I'm not going to vote. And I will tell you, as a non conservative voter, it was not just conservatives that went and voted. So, again, come at me with some real facts next time.
No, well, and just to kind of bridge that, because there's truth in both sides of this conversation right now. Okay, because you're
But
right,
you're only
voter
focusing
turnout
on
was
one
bad.
side. That's the problem.
No, well, and you're right, voter turnout in Ontario the last decade, if not a little longer, has dropped, and that's a big part of it. A lot of Liberal voters, NDP voters, what you could consider progressive voters, have really been turned off in terms of going to vote, because really, what doesn't matter, nothing changes. And a part of that is to do with, before we had Doug Ford, it was Kathleen Wynne, who, yes, there was some good stuff. Don't get me wrong. I'm not gonna sit here and, for lack of better words, crap on what they did, but there wasn't much of substance. It's almost like they towed the line again, right? So. Um,
Can
all
I
those
say one
things.
thing in
Winter
regards
as
to
well to
Kathleen
go
Wynne?
vote. The weather was horrible. Yeah, go ahead,
Uh,
Pasty.
with Kathleen Wynne, a lot of people's issues with her was because she was openly gay, and then she also chose to privatize our energy sector. Those are the only two things that people had an issue with when it came to Kathleen Wynne, because our medical was better under her, ERs were properly funded and staffed,
Yep.
Hmm.
schools were properly funded, and there were social programs for food for kids.
Mhm.
So Kathleen Wynne really didn't do anything wrong and was substantially better than the government we currently have in Ontario.
There was. Sorry, I'm trying to rattle my brain quick here, because there was something to do with hydro. There was an issue.
Yeah, she
Um,
privatized it.
yeah. Thank you. Yeah. So that's, to me, that's one of the biggest things. Like, for me, that's a red flag. If you're gonna privatize something, I'm out. Um, Right. So thank you for that, because my brain wasn't catching up. Smarshy, you wanted to chime in quick, and then Marcel will go back to you. Smarsh, you there? Okay, I think Smarsh is gone. Marcel?
No,
Oh,
no, I'm here. I'm at my parents' house, so I'm trying to find a place where I'm not like bombarded. But here's the thing. I don't know how long it's been since there have been anything other than conservatives in Alberta, but Alberta's healthcare was better.
well, okay. So Alberta healthcare, we've seen now. Um, we've seen issues within the Alberta healthcare now.
Mm-hmm.
I want to think the last time I covered was they were stripping the funding for um, food services, and that got
Yeah,
turned around really damn quick, because people found out what was actually going on, and UPC was like, "Oh God, we got caught with our hands in the cookie jar, run!" Um, and then we see that in Ontario as well, in a lot of different ways. So,
right. But I don't remember when there was another person in charge of Alberta that wasn't conservative
mhm.
because I've lived here for 3 decades, right? So before Klein, was it Klein? Before Kenny and the witch that's running it now, our healthcare was better before them. Just saying.
Yeah. Um, Yeah, see, and I'm trying to remember exactly because I know I'm not as up on my Albertan politics, um, going back in time. So, uh,
Right. I'm trying to hide in the bathroom from my parents, so I'm trying to be really quiet.
all
Oh
good.
yeah, Notley. Notley was good. Notley was good. Our healthcare was good under Notley. Thank you, Stick. But yeah, had a brief stint in Alberta, but that was about it. And now
Yeah,
it's just she actually is trying to literally and figuratively sell our healthcare to a place in the U.S. to privatize our complete healthcare altogether. I won't be able to make. I won't be able to live long if that's the case.
yeah,
So
yeah, and this is what we're seeing from conservatives kind of across the board in Canada is really it's a push to privatize and see more of a system more resembling and hopefully not as bad as the American healthcare system. Marcel.
I got two things. For
Yep.
number one, Canada needs to adopt Australia's system and start finding people who don't vote because people need to be forced to freaking vote. Plain and simple. Because you know what? This, is hurting everybody, including themselves, because they waste their time and not vote, and then they scream the loudest. If you don't vote, you don't have a say. Period. Sorry. My opinion,
nope.
and only my opinion. And so, secondly, Ford is also trying to sell Ontario's healthcare system to a privatized American company because, woo, that's so smart. And, I find it really, really funny. And I hate to go about it this way, but there is no other way. Conservatives always bitch about a liberal government when they screw up, but they never scream and yell and rant and rave as loud as they do when it's a conservative government doing the same exact thing. It makes no
Exactly.
sense. So if you're going to hold one government to accountability, do it to your own goddamn government that you voted for.
Thank you.
Yeah,
Thank you, Marcel. And you
yeah,
know what?
absolutely.
No vote, no voice. That's what I keep saying. No vote,
Yeah.
no voice.
And that's the biggest thing where I absolutely agree with if you don't vote, I'm sorry, then stay out of the conversation. Absolutely. And on that same level, don't get me wrong, like it's their freedom to choose not to vote. Okay, so I don't want to kind of take away freedom to do what you want to do in that sense, but absolutely agree with the sense of yeah, no, if you don't vote, don't. I don't even care if you go in and spoil your vote. If you go to the polls, good, go, great, I love it. And regardless of what you do, if you vote for someone, if you spoil your vote, however, just go to the polls on election day or early voting. That's the biggest thing in my mind. And again, I can spit my opinion on different parties. I'll never tell somebody who to vote for. Just go and vote because our system works better the more people that vote. It's the whole point.
Right. I'm excluding like teenagers who don't like 17 and under. They can say something about how they feel. That's one thing. But
Oh, absolutely.
to try and have a voice when you didn't willingly vote? No, thank you,
Mhm.
sir. No, ma'am.
I, I think too, with when it comes to the younger kids that aren't of age to vote yet, it is important to have these conversations with them. Extremely, because part of why I am as into politics and fighting for people's rights as I am now is because I grew up in Ottawa. It was very much in the forefront of me being raised throughout high school and stuff after leaving up north. Because it's not talked about up
Mhm.
north. It's a taboo thing to talk about. You don't talk about politics, you don't talk about money. It's about that simple.
Yeah, and it's important to make sure we inform, I'll say teenagers more than anyone
It really
because, like you
is.
said, you're getting to the point of you're going to be legal to vote. You need to know what's going on, especially moving forward before getting into being of age to vote. Because if you don't know what's going on beforehand, how are you going to make informed decision when you're actually able to legally vote at that point?
Plus,
Uh,
also the process of voting, which isn't always the
Exactly.
yeah,
simplest thing.
absolutely, yeah. Marcel.
All right, so I've been watching the comments, SM made a comment. I don't want to endorse hatred by voting for a party that allows hateful rhetoric. Bravo. And then this Drax person, probably a bot account to try and rage bait people. Fragile much? I feel the same about the rainbow flags. Here's a fun fact. Here is an actual fun fact. Trans people's lives and gay people's lives do not affect you in any way, shape, or form. So mind your business and stay in your own lane.
Yeah.
Instead of injecting yourself into our lives where we actually have to fight for rights, stay in your fucking lane and know your role.
Oh, and I'm going to say this one thing before I mute up. And Indigenous lives, they don't matter to you, then you know what? When Indigenous people get more rights back, and you start seeing us standing up for our community, you don't have a voice in that because people are trying to collectively take people's rights away.
Yep.
Indigenous lives as well. Stay out
Now,
of Indigenous matters if it doesn't affect you.
yep. And guys, I'm going to throw a little bit of a funny in there, but it is factual and it is, to me, it's a great point. Uh, People in the comments, you want to complain about different colors of flags. You currently like to fly flags that say you are going to fuck whoever the Liberal Party leader is. So please tell me when you are a very testosterone filled man driving your big truck saying fuck Trudeau or fuck Carney, what does that say about you? Just throwing it out there. Think about that for a little bit and let that sink in.
Okay, not testosterone driven, because I'm kind of like that right now with being on
Well,
T.
but you know what I
Insecure,
mean, not yeah.
Okay, can I say something real quick before I have to text my kid?
Yeah.
Okay, the people that are complaining about gas prices and rent being so much, they are the people that have the most expensive toys. They buy
Yeah.
these big
Like
trucks.
so
Stop living outside your means if you can't afford it. Period.
yeah, absolutely. And just to add to that, I did see a report. I didn't dive into it. I have it in mind for later because I do want to. It's something like Canadian fuel prices have been dropping at the rate that they have been. We haven't seen this kind of drop in fuel prices in Canada for like 5 years. Okay, so like yeah, there's whether you want to equate that with what's going on with the United States and yada yada yada, but I mean the carbon tax alone being taken off, it dropped good. Okay, so at this point, if that price starts to go back up again without the carbon tax on there, then you really need to start thinking, guys, if it was the carbon tax or if it was fucking corporate greed and corporate profit that drove the prices. Let's be honest about that. Um, yeah, Marcel.
Oh, 100% I agree. And again, you could be fucking 95 Drax. I don't give a shit. Thank you for your service. But that does not mean that you get to be a bigoted, hateful human being to something you don't want to understand. So again, stay out of our lives because it literally does not affect you in any way, shape, or form.
Yeah.
Period. So suck it up. Also, a lot of these people, Moose, I have noticed from this political kerfuffle, how many people don't know the difference between provincial, federal, and municipal? Everything's the federal government's fault. No, dumbass, it's the provincial. And guess what? When federal government is liberal, most provinces are conservative provincials. So it's
And
coming from the same exact party that you're fucking crying about.
yeah, and that's something too that's very good to point out is a lot of times Canadians will vote the opposite. Not saying everyone, but overall, you see if it's a party on the federal level, it's a different party on the provincial, and that's a way. So I think subconsciously, a lot of Canadians try to balance things a bit. And to further your point about the levels of government, what they're responsible for, I use Ontario as an example. It's a changing landscape for that because the province has dumped a lot of responsibilities onto the municipalities, such as housing, such as mental health, resources within healthcare aspect of it. Um, Garbage is another one. The province used to be responsible for garbage disposal. Now it's the municipalities that are responsible for that. All these different things. So it's important, whatever province you're in, to actually go and dive into who's actually in charge of what at this point, whether it's provincial or municipal. But a lot of times it's those two levels at this point, and not the federal government that's responsible for our everyday, you know.
And I
Uh,
just want to let everybody know that everyone that has a conservative government in their as their premier, we're crashing harder than we realize, they realize, because
yeah,
the conservatives only care about themselves and big corporations.
no, absolutely, very much so. We are at 8:58, guys. So I am gonna start kind of wrapping things up for now. I want to say thank you for all of you for coming up. Smarshy, I always love your voice. Marcel and Pasty Native, I always love all your voices. But before we wrap up, we'll go around in a circle here and we'll just one last kind of throw out there for any information you want to give people or one last thing to add to the conversation. So we'll start with Smarshy and then we'll do the round table.
Just everybody, this upcoming election, vote and vote smart. That's all I have to say. Thank you.
Marcel.
All I want to say is to all of the conservatives that are in here right now, please look up the AB Coalition of Canada and look at how many votes against women's rights there are. Also, go to our housecommons.ca, I believe it is, and you'll also see how many conservative votes, including Stephen Harper and Pierre Poilievre, voted against my right to marry my husband. Before you come at anybody, have your damn facts straight. And guess what? It's not an alt-right or an alt-left site either. So, there's that. Thanks for your time, Moose.
Of course, thank you so much for your time, Marcel. Pasty Native.
I want to remind people to vote. Advanced voting starts on the 18th and goes through to the 21st. And then the early voting goes from the 22nd, I believe, till the 27th. And then we have election day on the 28th.
Yeah, you probably don't care because you're an Albertan, and Albertans seem to only care about themselves. Sorry.
No, no, you're good.
And
That was to white boy Mike in the comments. I did see it there. Yeah, no, and you know what? All I have to say to the people in the comments right now that are trying to troll or be essentially, sorry about my language, but assholes, all you're doing is boosting the live and getting our message out there more. So thank you so much for your support, trolls. We really appreciate you boosting the algorithm to get our voices out there better and be heard more. Thank you so much.
and
Um,
to any conservative that is voting conservative, do your research, fact check. Do not believe what is automatically given to you by PP, and remember that you are voting for someone who is taking away rights from other people,
yeah,
and that is something a liberal would never do to you.
yeah, absolutely. Awesome. Thank you so much, guys, again, for everyone coming up. I really appreciate it. Um,
Speaking of which, I just got my voter card in the mail.
yes, there you go. Key resources, guys. The biggest one I've been pushing for the election is electionscanada.ca. If you have any questions, any concerns, that is your best resource. Electionscanada.ca as well. If you want to track the polls as per individual riding, I will always bolster smartvoting.ca. Go check it out. Go find your riding. See what the polls are saying, and help be more informed when you make your decision come voting day, whether it's early or on election day itself. So, with that being said, thank you everyone for joining in the conversation. I really appreciate it. Everyone that came out tonight, thank you so much. And we will see you throughout the week. You can catch myself and Pasty Native over on the Beaver Network through the week. We have shows
Bye.
every day of the week. And Smarshy is always over there. Marcel, I always see you over there as well. So thank you for all the support, guys. And yeah, until next week, stay safe, stay sane, take care of your loved ones, take care of yourselves, and I'll see you guys next week. Have a good night, everyone.